shoegaze will never die. Shoegaze has been around for about 30 plus years now at this point. That's crazy to think about. That's like a whole humanoid's life. You've always heard of the definition of shoegaze being a guitarist having millions of pedals on the ground as they're playing live, and they're just like gazing at their shoes. Now, I'm not here to say you're wrong or right. I'm just here to say that this music has stood the test of time, and that's a fact. When you think of the genre or subgenre shoegaze, you instantly think of bands like My Bloody Valentine and Slowdive. But let me show some respect to other bands who are also involved with this freaking genre, like Lush, Ride, and Chapterhouse. There are plenty of other shoegaze bands that are around everywhere, but if I left one of your favorites off the list, let me know in the comments. With that being said, My Bloody Valentine released Loveless in 1991, and its influence has been talked about since its release. Bands that have shown respect to the band My Bloody Valentine consist of Smashing Pumpkins, which I'm wearing right now, Radiohead, and hundreds of other bands. And the same goes for Slowdive's Souvlaki album, released in 1993. An impact like that is honestly a band's dream. I mean, some bands kind of just want money and fame and everything that comes along with that, but I think if you ask someone who appreciates music, they kind of want to have an impact left on this world. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But yeah, memories are attached to albums, and experiences are being had with these albums in the background playing. It's just a beautiful thing. Music is beautiful. I want to talk about the newer generation now, so we're kind of moving on from that My Bloody Valentine, Slowdive, Lush, and all that stuff. I want to show respect to the up-and-coming bands and this new shoegaze wave that a lot of the youth in my generation is starting to play more and more of, which, by the way, I feel like the older people who were like in the 90s, in 80s and all that or whatever, think there's like no bands out right now. There's just no bands at all. They're just nothing, which is incorrect, stupid. Let's start off with the band Glare, a band from Rio Grande Valley in Texas. This band is on the forefront of this new up-and-coming generation of shoegaze bands, in my opinion. And if this is the first time you're hearing of this band, I promise you won't be disappointed if you actually enjoy this type of genre or music. Glare has displayed the classic shoegaze ambient sound, with all the soft guitars. And of course, there's always that distortion that catches you off guard, but they implement it so beautifully that it kind of just hits you in the face. This band definitely has a way of just putting you in a trance and keeping you in a certain level and just making you feel happy that whole time. With no album released by the band has still created such a huge fan base online. Their most popular material being their Into You single that was released in 2017. And right off the bat, they kind of showed you that they're not only a band with potential, but that they are a band here to stay. In my opinion, first impressions are always a big part of a band's trajectory in their career. Or maybe I'm wrong, because sometimes you could have terrible work in the beginning and then become such a better band moving forward. But a good impression is always a good impression. A bad impression will leave a bad taste in your mouth, but maybe it's just whatever. And Glare's just leaving the fattest impression on your face. Even though their catalog only contains about 2 EPs and a handful of singles, I wouldn't even say that Glare has a lack of material. The material they have is very high-end quality. If you look at it and listen to it, it's to the point where they get millions of streams on their singles, or close to 1 million streams. And whenever Glare decides to actually drop an album, which will be sometime in the future, I'm guessing, it will be phenomenal. So yeah, Glare, very good. You should get into their work if you haven't heard of them. I'm pretty sure people around my age have heard of them, and they rock your socks off. Moving on to one of my favorite shoegaze bands of this modern era, Full Body 2. My goodness, this band is otherworldly. They're on their own category when I'm talking about all these newer shoegaze bands, in my opinion. Man, I can't believe it, man. They just paint a picture for you, man. It's crazy. Let me talk about them. This band isn't your typical shoegaze where it's just, a bunch of reverb and a bunch of just delay pedals, stacked on top of each other. They have a blend of this electronic, glitchy video game, cyber Y2K energy. God, that's terrible. There's a lot of buzzwords, but I don't know. It just reminds me of that video game soundtrack, early 2000s type of stuff, but they're more than that. Obviously, they're way more than that. They recently released a beautiful EP called Infinity Signature, and you should listen to it if you can. They transport you into this space-time continuum that you kind of recognize but have no idea what this is at the same time. A sound of future and past, a sound of energy and sorrow, a contradicting ambush of noise. That's what I like to call them. They utilize all this noise and somehow make it sound very clean to the point where it's like there's a purpose with this noise. It's not just making noise to make a noise. It's not in your face just to be in your face for no reason. There's clearly some objective in Full Body 2's brain, and in my opinion, they're just achieving every mission they set out, every goal they set out to do. Pictures are being painted, moments are being created. A lack of creativity does not exist in Full Body 2's world. They only have 2 EPs and 3 singles, but man, it's all about the quality. It's not about the quantity. It's all about what you have. It's what you show us. It's what you show the world. And man, they are very, very different, man. They're just different. And I think that's what gravitates me towards them, because there's a bunch of shoegaze bands that have the same formula. And that's with a lot of bands in this, I think any generation really. They see a band do something, get inspired, and then try to copy and paste. But this band saying F that, they want to do what they want to do, creating something different. It's always fun to see people bend stuff and, just do something different, play with the Play-Doh, make a different shape. I don't know, stick your fingers in that Play-Doh, like the classic way. Now let me move on to the Phoenix, Arizonian band Glixen. Glixen is a band that you look at and you think they look cool as hell. I was just looking at everybody and I was just like, dang, these dudes just look cool to hang out with or something. Well, they also play some damn good rock and roll, brother. I have seen this band live, so I think I have a very punctuated and objective way of viewing this band and describing how they are, what they sound like. A very unique band, I might add. Ugh, my balls itch. Glixen is a relatively new band that started releasing material in 2021 with their single Sugar Cube. They provide a less aggressive side compared to bands like Glare and Full Body 2. For someone trying to get into this genre, I definitely recommend Glixen because they just seem like a very easy, approachable band to listen to that can, provide an experience for someone that never really listened to this shoegaze stuff. Obviously, there's distortion involved with the tunes, but it's so much more clean cut and approachable and digestible, and I don't know, it's just really nice. It's pretty. It's pretty music. The vocals are soft as butter, almost sounds phone call-ish, you know what I'm talking about, on the phone. And that's always a nice sound to have when there's waves and tsunamis of beautiful guitar work just being pushed through in the back. Now, I did mention I saw them live, so I'll talk about that experience right now. When I saw them in Sacramento in September, I believe, man, they were loud. And I'm talking about loud, probably the loudest band I've seen live. And I don't know why I did not expect that. I didn't really have any expectations, because I just wanted to see what's up. I guess I didn't really think about it. But, they hit me in the face, definitely punched me, gave me a black eye, was like, here we are, pay attention to us, what now? And I made sure right when I went home, actually the next day, I made a TikTok about them because I wanted to talk about how great they were. Everybody that was there looked like they got a spell cast on themselves. I don't know if I said that right, but you know what I'm saying. Like, everybody was in a trance. Everybody was just still watching, listening, vibing. No time was spent talking in between as they were playing or just, disrespecting the band. Everybody was just in the moment, which was awesome. Which is kind of crazy because, they weren't the main band. This wasn't their tour. They were supporting Cowgirl Clue. And whenever you make an impact on people who might not know you, that's kind of crazy, man. That's kind of like rocking your face. That's just, I don't even know what that is. I just know that's a moment. You just created a fan. I think that's how people should approach, making a fan base, is just touring a lot and making good music and having fun. I think Glixen will be one of the bands that'll blow up next year, in my opinion, and it's only a matter of time, man. They have everything. The look, the sound, the music is amazing. It's great. They already have so many touring opportunities lined up with bands like Glitterer and Soft Colt, and they're even going to South by Southwest, which is bonkers. Huge stuff. I know they'll knock it out of the park, no doubt. So yeah, man, shoegaze is not gonna die, at least anytime soon. This genre will always live, continue to live. Appreciate it, acknowledge it. Play some shoegaze, man. I'll leave a link down below to all the artists and their Spotify's. And you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'll also leave a link down below. Shoegaze forever.